Hi, my name is Shanti Kumar V. You can see my name by searching in Google. You will get a lot of links on my blog site and YouTube videos. Okay, today's topic I would like to present is why some of the cloud engineers are lacking skills to build the infrastructure in cloud. You take cloud engineer or DevOps engineer, they have the similar activities. Maybe DevOps engineer have more activities comparatively pure cloud engineer because their role is to build the infrastructure, environment in traditional manner. If you take the terminology, they are doing the same activities also apart from working for the DevOps processes. Now let us see one by one here. There are lakhs of cloud engineers converted from traditional roles. When you say traditional roles, let us look into that first. Let us understand what were the traditional roles we used to have it. Then we will come back to the next point. Let me pull that slide for you. Here are the traditional roles related to infra. Now, if you see, network engineer and admin used to be there. So what were their tasks? They were designing, setting up, maintaining networks. So if you take in AWS, yes, VPC components need to be designed it. Their role is that one in the past. And maintaining the devices. What were the devices? Routers, switches, then maybe servers are there, DHCP servers, maybe internet gateway servers, such kind of things. Yes, here also we have in the VPC components, those things. So they all are converted as a virtualized items, and they don't maintain physically, but front end they can maintain by redesigning the network or designing the network if it is a new network, like a virtual private cloud in any cloud services across three top vendors like AWS, Azure and GCP. Yes, that is the system. Then managing security and user groups. Yes, in network, if you want to access particular domain, network domain or server, set of servers, you need to have network ID. And that ID should have access with particular groups. Groups means there can be support team, there can be development team, there can be testing team, there can be network group, there can be sysadmin group. Such kind of groups they used to create in the past. So now how you are going to do these things? In AWS, if you see, there are two categories. One is virtual machine level access permissions are required by using the user groups to access that particular virtual machine. Then on top level, services level, if you take it in AWS, services wise, we can give access to the users by creating different groups. Each group will have different policies, and whoever wants that services, those policies are attached in that group, and the IDs, user ID is added to the groups. According to that, the user ID can log in and they will be able to access those services only. So that way we are going to set up. Now these are the activities I have explained in high level how these can be converted into AWS implementation. Now let us see another role, system administrator. In the past, these sysadmin guys used to do creating physical machines with operating system either Windows or Linux, then configuring softwares and servers also, and allocating and maintaining the users, maintaining the machines. Now if you see in cloud setup, yes, they can create the virtual machines with Windows OS or Linux OS. There is a process to create the virtual machines like EC2 in AWS if you take it. If you take GCP or Azure, yes, virtual machines creation is their separate process. Then configuring software and servers. Let us say you want to configure that particular EC2 machine with particular Apache 2 server, or if it is a Windows machine, you need to configure with IIS servers, web servers, or you want to configure as a database server like MySQL, yes, it is possible. It can be done by the sysadmin guys. As per the traditional role I am talking still, I have not converted into cloud. So let us understand the task, what they were doing it. The same tasks are possible in virtual machines operation also. So then allocating, maintaining the users. Yes, here also as we discussed in the previous thing, there are two categories of access permissions. One is AWS services level. Then second one is at the virtual mission level. These things, mission level, they are managing these things. Let us say you create one virtual mission. In that you have configured Apache 2 server and you have configured MySQL database also as a server. Now they want to access those things, somebody, by connecting to the application servers. Now what he need to do, the sysadmin guy, as per the traditional task, he is supposed to create user groups. Then from there user IDs need to be added. So user IDs permissions will be given according to the group setup. So all those things are possible. Then maintaining the machines. In the past, when you talk about maintaining missions, they used to upgrade the patches. They used to upgrade the versions of the OS. Such kind of activities they used to take it across the servers, across the machines. But here what happens in virtualization? In virtualization, you have upgrades automatically. It can be done in the backend by cloud vendor itself. And major updates, if you want to do, yes, on spot itself, they can use commands and they can update that particular virtual machines, being administrative access for that virtual mission. The same way they used to do maintaining the old traditional systems also. And next role is database administrator. So what is the role of the DBA? Configuring, maintaining DB servers and creating schemas, databases, maintain permissions to access or give the permissions to the users who are all supposed to work with the databases in the backend. And the fourth one is backups creation, upgrades and replicas. All these things are happening in the traditional setup. These activities are continuously as an ongoing activity. They do it DBS in the old traditional setup. If you take any DBS in a large organization, they used to have shift system 24/7. So every database server they used to maintain physically. So for these things, there won't be much automation required except backups and restores, maybe replicas, upgrades also across the globe, whatever the organization has got the network. So in such cases, these guys' tasks are typically meant only for the DBA role person, dedicated. So the guy who is going to perform in cloud, they need to understand these tasks very in depth also. Right. Now let us keep that as our understanding on the DBA activities or tasks. Now let us come back to the deployment engineer. This deployment engineer, I am comparing with the traditional role. I am not comparing with the involvement of the DevOps. DevOps is a separate topic. I'll explain you later. So this deployment engineer, what he used to do, create, maintain environments. So he himself used to build the environments in many places. Maybe there can be multiple engineers. They might have in 3-tier or n-tier architecture. Each architecture will have separate segments. Those segments, each engineer used to build it. Then they need to connect in the software architecture to host the systems, web-based systems. Now, if you see their tasks, they are creating, maintaining the environments, similar way, right? What I discussed just now in entire architecture levels. Then they are also working for packaging the builds for deployment. Then they are deploying the builds, then tracking the issues after deployment. Once the deployment happens, what happens? There are test engineers, they are supposed to certify them. Then later on, if there are fixes, yes, developers need to step down into fixing the issues. These are the high level activities for each role. Now let us go to next one. Next, technical roles like developer, what he is supposed to do in traditional system, or even now also they are doing these activities when it is migrated to DevOps and cloud also. Collection of the product requirements, designing them for software code, building the development environment, developing source code, unit testing and fixing, and coordinating for other activities. So these all are the common activities for any developer, typical developer in large organizations. If it is a small organization, many developers are very flexible and they are coordinating, they are doing themselves itself as per the process and standards. Now let us come to the test engineer. The test engineer role is creating test cases against to design requirements, building a test environment for entire product testing, executing the tests. If you see some of the technical guys, the test engineers, they work with many automation tools. They are all techies. In fact, they work for building the test environments in mid-sized to small-sized organizations, as they are the techie guys at that level. But they are not the code writers or designing or developing the software, but still they have the technical knowledge to understand what component they have released, the developers. So that level of technical guys are available in the industry. Now, when they all these role guys, when they learn cloud technology and convert into cloud areas, what they are supposed to do? They are supposed to learn all these role tasks in live environment, how these are going to be executed. The same way they need to map it to the cloud services with each role, and they need to understand those roles activities in cloud. So combinedly, one guy will be performing as cloud engineer for all these activities or tasks. Now let us say if a developer is converted into cloud technology, or tester also learned the same thing, both are on the same page, then they in the past they used to depend on multi infra roles to get ready the environment. Now they can learn the cloud basic services to plan and design the environments by self, right? So as per the current technology trend, it is made essential to learn the cloud services for these role based people also. They can also transition into cloud infra roles for higher CTC, which is a great opportunity. So this provides them to move into higher CTC because of the technology is demanding this kind of skills as a combined skills. In such case, what happens? The developer can do all the previous activities, whatever these four role guys are used to do in the traditional manner. The test engineer also can do it except development. So if any of these two guys learn cloud technology, they are supposed to do those also in the small sized organizations. The same way the cloud engineer is supposed to do all these tasks using the cloud services. Now let us come back to that. Just give me some time. So now so far we have seen different roles in IT and what are all the low level tasks they have been doing it in traditional setup, and how we can do using AWS their tasks, their role based tasks as cloud engineer. So you take any kind of role, yes, you will be able to perform very well by understanding the tasks in each area, in each role, I can say. Many of the organizations, even though they have converted into cloud, they are using these roles still because of the scariness. If if they miss this kind of roles, they might miss some of the activities while setting up the environment. So these knowledge people, they are keeping them in the projects to transition the knowledge from them. Or even these guys can convert into full-time cloud engineer roles also once migration is happened yet. Now let us come back to the cloud engineer lacking skills. So in such case, many of them do not have domain knowledge by lack of understanding the past roles, past activities. Even everybody, the guy who is working the cloud roles, they are well aware of VPC, they are well aware of ELB, they are well aware of autoscaling, RDS, CloudWatch, Route 53, all these kind of services, major services, they are aware of them. But in a sequential order to prepare the end-to-end setup, they don't understand the sequential tasks. One need to guide them in the project. In many organizations, the top people, whoever is working in the CIO level or CTO level, even some of them, they are not aware of these roles. What are the sequential way they need to set up one by one. At the same time, they don't spend much time on studying the documentation, what the cloud vendor has provided it, extensive documentation. That is lacking. Because of that is lacking, those guys are meant only for tracking and identifying the performance. From where they are going to identify performance if they are not boosting the teams. So that is lacking in the organization because of the fast pacing environments of getting set up, because of the top-notch people pressures to save the cost for them. Now, let us come back to the next point. They do not understand the architecture level specifications, the basic cloud engineers, because of that lacking. They are not capable of converting the specifications into relevant cloud services. Yes, you agree with that, with this point also after having the discussion of the roles, past roles and tasks. They do not follow cost-effective solutions with ISC. First of all, they don't know what are the sequential order of the tasks to set up all those things. So in reality, they are supposed to have the design steps. Those specifications will give them what services they can build it at that point of time. So what are the prerequisites, what are the post requisites for using this particular task? They should be aware of that. So they are not aware. Obviously, there will be mistakes, there will be defects, failures will occur in the infrastructure setup itself, many places. Yes, there are cloud engineers, they all are very competent by learning all these things, by spending years together in the job roles. They are able to cope up for the expectations of the client or employer. They increase the monthly billing cost to the employer, so the real cloud conversion objective is violated. Because of lack of knowledge, they do, instead of doing one service, they'll do some other services. Maybe they can increase the number of VMs also unknowingly, that those VMs are lying months together, then monthly billing when the finance department sees that it is going beyond the budget allocation. If you see any newspapers from last 2 years, many of the organizations, it seems they are spending more than the required budget for the cloud because of lack of all these skills augmentation in the projects. Then what the employer is doing, the employers are forced to serve the pink slips to save such people with costly defects and hunting for right people in the global market. Where do they get the right people if many of the organizations are not following the process to augment the skills, domain knowledge level, things, all those, right? So obviously it is going to be failure for them. So there is a lot of dryness in the global IT market to have these kind of skills. Even if you see the top-notch training vendors, what they are publishing on their sites, you can see how many cloud engineers are required in this year, or how many data scientists are required, how many machine learning people are required, what is the percentage of the positions vacant globally. They are publishing all that news to attract the people. So if you see those statistics, they are the real statistics. But in reality, you are not finding that kind of people who are all fit for the environment setup. So some examples of the defects, if you see, they use VM as DB server instead of RDS. They know RDS to use it, but instead of that, the guy who is given the task, he might be from the traditional setup, he never exposed it with the cloud extensively. Then they'll give, okay, why don't you use virtual machine and set up the MS SQL server simply, they'll say. So this guy need to follow blindly instead of telling him there is RDS service, he can use it, with that he can set up all those things, because that takes longer time for the cloud engineer to explain them. Even the lead guy or project manager should be capable enough to catch that knowledge and try to implement those best practices also. That is lacking. They do not use storage for huge data. Yes, obviously S3 storage is required. Instead of that, they might be using EBS volumes or EFS or such kind of network drive setup also. So many costly defects like this we can find in the cloud. These are samples only. Even I have written many blogs on these defects, feasible defects in cloud setup. So let us come back to this part of the slide. Why is it happening with the cloud engineers in this way? In the past, many training companies, they educated the cloud engineers only on the screen operations, not on domain areas. Basically, if I am a training vendor, if I am running my own institute, I will do trainings related to that topic only. I don't need to bother what these guys are supposed to do in the projects. Those are the responsibilities of the IT organizations. Take care of domain knowledge transfer and knowledge transfer on the design aspects, what services they need to design and what are the tasks they can get. In the task, very detailed steps should be given, like a test case, test script, where those are the specifications for automation engineer. The same way the cloud engineer is supposed to get, but in reality it is not happening across the projects. That is lacking. They never educated them into the architecture level live scenarios. Yes, that is not the training institute responsibility also. Even though they are certified, that is where their CTC also varies from person to person for knowledge variation purpose. So even these guys are certified, they don't have domain knowledge. Where to use that solution architect certificate? What they are going to do? So each person to person, these knowledge gaps are there. With the gaps, who is having more knowledge, who is capable enough to do that, they are getting higher CTC obviously. Then these guys should not compare other people's CTC. It varies from one person to another person, the knowledge and implementation practices also. Then third point, even the cloud engineers are not self-motivated to learn by self this kind of architectures for different services usage during job as per the employer need. Now, if you see, many cloud vendors, they have given detailed documentation. You take AWS documentation, in depth they have given with tutorials, examples, scenarios and customer case studies also they have given it for each services or sub-services. Who is having patience to read that kind of documentation? They want the job, they want the payslip at the end of the month. So if they have that kind of mind attitude set, how they are going to cope up with the environment, with the delivery? You tell me. Now, so many of the cloud services companies have given extensive documentation, but these engineers are not having skills to understand them with their current background or lack of bandwidth or due to job stress. Yes, obviously, it doesn't mean if they take a fresher and define them as a cloud engineer, that fresher will not have this kind of skills. Even 5 years below guys, they don't have habit of reading technical documentation. You take any of the infrastructure guys, these role people, many of them, they don't have patience to read the documentation because their job is just to do the fire the commands on the command line interpreter. Like take a terminal, Linux terminal and fire them. Even DBA guys, they used to take the stored procedures, they used to take the SQLs, fire them in the backend. So apart from that, they don't have a habit of reading documentation like technical guys, like developers. If you take developer as their regular activities to keep reading, understand the technical aspects and implement those solutions. Even test engineers also, there are little more tricky guys than the infra guys. They keep learning technical tools, automation purpose. They improve the knowledge in that technology also. So in such case, do you think these guys can do reading thoroughly and implementing the solutions at this level? Yes, it is not possible. The employer expectation is very high along with the speed of the technology trend. Yes, obviously, one top guy is sitting in CEO role, Chief Executive Officer role or Chief Information Officer role. They are responsible to migrate or prove the cloud technology in their organization by saving massive cost. So in such case, what happens? They are going to target particular dates to implement these things. So what is going on in the live in low level, nobody is aware of that and nobody is capable enough to track it. That's where the cloud projects many places are getting failed it. Backouts are happening and again they are retrying it, all these things without having this kind of plans, without having this kind of knowledge with the resources. Whether the cloud engineer is not capable to catch it, so many of them are failing on the job. Obviously, when they are evaluating it, yes, they are failing because there is organizational problem also, not only the cloud engineer issue. Cloud engineer might be a techie guy, he can create any kind of service in minutes or seconds or something, but the domain knowledge is lacking there. So many organizations need to thrive into that to augment the skills in the domain knowledge also, but it's not happening it. And getting stressed out, these cloud engineers with management pressures. So how to cope up with to sustain an IT job? These people need to cope up for the market demand. First thing, what is that? They need to get implementable domain based knowledge from expertise. So how to do that? They also need to apply different combinations in their practice by learning them. Their cloud infra planning and design skills need to be upgraded through expertise. Then they need to try for right job with the upgraded skills or expertise. Yes, obviously, if in that situation, if they are there in a going to failure situation, obviously they need to take these kind of decisions. They need to learn from domain knowledge where to implement this kind of things, how many combinations it can be used. It let us say you want to implement RDS, yes, serverless computing, yes, that how you are going to implement it. If you take a load balancer, how it was there in the traditional setup, how they are going to implement it. What is the gap analysis identification between the traditional setup and cloud setup for that particular environment setup in cloud. All these things will come by getting knowledge sharing from the experienced people, from the expertise. Then they will be able to catch up what is their task, what are their design steps need to be there for that particular domain requirement. And you can see such kind of information on my blog also. And these are the high level information I have studied it, I am sharing with you guys. Let me also tell you what I do to support this kind of cloud professionals if they are in the burning stage. First thing is you should be a certified AWS solution architect, associate or professional. Then you should be working on AWS projects currently. Not able to not able to cope up with the client expectations at this stage, yes, because of lack of knowledge, domain knowledge, sequence of actions, what to do, when to do, how to do, and lack of design steps creation, that kind of things. You are not able to understand the issues, yes, obviously. Not able to understand client infra domains, yes. When you have lack of knowledge, your experience is not related to those things, past roles, nobody can understand that. One need to agree for that. So not able to map the exact services for conversions. Yes, when you don't have infra domain knowledge, you will not be able to map the services. You know how to create load balancer, how to create auto scale, but where to map for the existing infrastructure in cloud, you need to understand that from the domain knowledge. Not able to give an implementable plan, yes, that is lacking. Not able to design the services, obviously. For that infra setup, you are not able to design. You can design a default setup, but that default setup is not going to help for the real infra setup. Many failures are occurring, yes, obviously. No idea to take corrective actions. Yes, at this point, as confusion will be created. So lack of technical and functional knowledge on the business systems. That's where we have discussed about different roles in the IT sector, what the roles are and their activities, their tasks, how it is migrated to the cloud, those kind of setup, how that need to be picked up by the cloud engineer. Not able to discuss with the developers or DevOps engineers, users, stakeholders on the services design because lack of domain knowledge. Yes, if you go and discuss with any of the existing guys as a new employee, new techie guy for the cloud, yes, they'll get surprised because you never had exposure of the domain knowledge. So they all are well versed years together in that project or in that environment, yes, they know very well. But you need to make a friendship, understand, catch that domain knowledge and convert them into code snippets, or at least manually you can create the setup. So not able to think and provide right solutions on time. Obviously, there are so many issues like this currently under pressure and scaring on pink slips. So having the so here, if you have this kind of symptoms, obviously it is giving indication your job is in stake. That is one thing. Another thing, you are going to get under confusion what to do, when to do. Instead of waiting to come out from the job, you step down to learn by self all these areas. Or if you feel like you are not able to catch up, then you come back to this kind of coaching. It is not only from me, there can be some other people who can coach you also. Yes, obviously you might have seen my sites and my blogs, my videos. If you like them, yes, you are most welcome to come and contact me. So what you are supposed to do, if you are interested to contact me, 16th point, I am ready. Having the LinkedIn profile and grown in the IT field only from day one. That is the pre-qualification I am expecting from the guys. My target is to save many IT professionals without having pink slips, to beat the current market in the trending technology. That is only the slogan I have made it. As if everybody is keen in learning through my experiences, all these things, you watch the videos. If you satisfy, if you are looking such kind of coaching, you please come back. But I don't accept the guys who are all coming from non-IT field. I don't do that. And next one is, this coaching can help you to sustain in cloud role. Yes, obviously, whatever we discussed, all those who are gaps are going to be fulfilled, but it will not help you for your burnt fingers to recall. Let us say you came with job burnings, job issues. Yes, I'm not going to help you in a short time. Yes, my coaching is going to help you to rebuild your career for future, re-strategize your plans, look for other roles in other companies after getting built by my coaching or something like that. So it helps to realign your future for AWS solutions in a methodical way with positive mindset or confidence. Yes, you're going to get boosting a lot on those areas, but your stress should be taken out. You should come with stress free, with the dedicated mind. Daily 2 to 3 hours you need to spend for this kind of things apart from my coaching hours. Then you need to practice more and more, then get ready with your own POCs, all those things you need to do that. You should be ready to burn your efforts in learning further to resettle in cloud domain during coaching. Yes, because it was lacking in your skills, domain knowledge. You are going to get the domain knowledge at the same time. You will be doing some POCs related to different setup. Then you will be learning yourself, and you are going to present the design steps. With those things, with those POCs demonstration, obviously you are going to get confidence level. Then you are going to crack the interviews. Even if any interviewer is going to give complex issues to resolve with in their projects, yes, you will be able to catch up those things. And if they give a terminal, they say you do this setup, I will give 1 hour. Yes, you are most welcome to do those things in front of them and prove in front of the interviewer or client also with POC's knowledge from this course. And please come to a scheduled call to discuss. Obviously, when you are connecting to LinkedIn, yes, you are going to do with a schedule with me for talking on that. I am not going to take you in the first instance itself. We both need to understand what is your bandwidth, what is my bandwidth. So for that, I am proposing at least to have 2 calls by taking 2 days gap in between the calls. Then you make a strong decision. You make your mindset to dedicate for this course. You need to leave all other things aside. You need to take it as a challenge to take this kind of courses and prove yourself in the industry in the next job. So before coming to a call, watch the videos for the blog site, Facebook, and connect me on WhatsApp, Facebook with this number also. This is my WhatsApp number also. But there are people, they are simply giving messages without having their name with their identification. For those guys, I'm not going to respond it. I'm very sorry for that. I'm not a typical trainer. I'm highly experienced professional. You need to follow some kind of ethics. So I have given what to follow, you follow them. Here is my V card. In this, I have given my profile URL. In LinkedIn also, you can connect to this profile link, and there you can send message on what basis you are coming to me and which one you referred. There are multiple videos I have posted in my sites as which video, where you have seen it, and what you want to get from me. All those things you write in a first message itself in LinkedIn. Yes, I'll understand it. Yes, you are coming from this route or from this channel. Yes, I'm going to interact with you. If you don't if you don't give this kind of information, which is not presentable format to me, I'll not understand it. Then I'll skip. Like, you have connected to LinkedIn like others. That's all. So you're going to lose my concentration or focus on you. So be professional, be focused on that, what you are going to achieve. It is going to help both sides. Thank you very much for watching this, and thanks for your time, and I appreciate you.